He who fights with monsters should be careful, lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. Friedrich Nietzsche. Have you ever felt insignificant compared to the greatness of others? When you hear names like Carl Jung or Friedrich Nietzsche, maybe a quiet voice within you whispers, "My life will never have that kind of impact." It feels like some were born to live with purpose, while the rest of us just struggle to survive the chaos of everyday life. But what if that belief is a lie? What if the real difference between those people and us isn't talent or fate, but the willingness to confront something we've spent a lifetime avoiding, our own inner darkness? Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, believed that the true meaning of life is not found outside of us, but buried deep within the soul. It is in those forgotten, suppressed, and rejected parts of ourselves where the blueprint of our purpose lies. You won't discover your true path until you dare to walk through the darkness within, and that darkness is not your enemy, it's your invitation. Whoever looks outside dreams. Whoever looks inside awakens. Carl Jung. Today, you are invited to take a deep inward journey, a path that leads straight to the core of your being. And maybe for the first time, you'll realize that what you fear most is actually the very thing that can set you free. For it is in the shadow that light becomes visible. The great lie of external purpose. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that life's purpose is defined by grand achievements, to be successful, admired, celebrated, to have an impressive career, public recognition, financial comfort. We're taught that a meaningful life means building a legacy that others can witness and applaud. So when we look at figures like Jung, Mandela, or Einstein, the gap seems overwhelming. It feels as though they were born with a map, while we stumble around in the dark. But what no one tells us is that true purpose isn't found under spotlights. It's uncovered in silence. It's not something you win, it's something you uncover. Jung rejected this mainstream notion. For him, the meaning of life isn't measured by the applause you receive, but by the integrity of becoming who you truly are, even when no one's watching. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. Purpose, then, is not about what you show the world, but what you allow yourself to become in private moments of reflection and honesty. Many people spend their entire lives chasing an external mission, unaware they're avoiding the real confrontation, facing themselves. It's easier to look outward. There lie the goals, the degrees, the achievements. But looking inward is dangerous. That's where the wounds are, the uncertainty, the shadow. And yet, it's exactly there, in that neglected landscape, where a meaningful life begins to take shape. The illusion of external purpose pulls us further from the truth, and that truth is only available to those who are brave enough to journey inward. Which brings us to a necessary question. If purpose is found within, how do we reach it? It begins with a map, and that map is etched into the architecture of our own mind. Let's explore it. Structure of the psyche, the inner map. To uncover the purpose that resides within us, we need a guide. According to Carl Jung, that guide is the structure of our own psyche. Picture your mind as a house. Some rooms are bright and orderly. You know exactly what they hold. But hidden beneath are shadowy basements, locked away and filled with memories, impulses, and emotions you've tried to suppress. Gaining awareness of the entire house is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole by integrating every facet of who you are. At the core of your awareness lies the ego. This is the I you identify with on a daily basis, the part that plans, decides, and interacts with the external world. But the ego is not the master of the house. It's just one of its many residents. Beside it is the persona, the social mask we wear to gain acceptance. We build different personas for different roles: the employee, the friend, the child, the lover. They help us navigate society, but they don't reflect our deepest identity. Beyond those layers lies the unconscious, and within it dwells the shadow, the hidden, denied and repressed aspects of who we are. These are parts of ourselves we refuse to accept, yet they continue to live within us, waiting for acknowledgement. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. The shadow is not simply a vault for pain or failure. It's also the resting place of forgotten strengths, silenced gifts, and authentic feelings that were cast aside out of fear or shame. Understanding the architecture of the psyche is essential, because our true purpose is not found in the ego or the persona. It lies deep in the unconscious, and to reach it, we must confront the shadow. But what exactly is the shadow? Let's find out. What is the shadow? The shadow encompasses all the parts of yourself that you are, yet refuse to acknowledge. It begins forming in early childhood, when you realize that certain emotions, behaviors, or desires are not welcomed by those around you. In order to receive affection, you suppress them. In order to gain approval, you conceal them. Over time, these hidden fragments accumulate beyond the reach of conscious awareness. The shadow, therefore, is not made up solely of bad things. It includes everything that has been pushed away, even positive traits you were too afraid to claim as your own. It harbors anger, jealousy, fear, but also boldness, sensuality, sensitivity, and creativity. These are aspects that couldn't be expressed because they didn't fit the image of yourself you felt obligated to uphold. The shadow is everything a person refuses to acknowledge about themselves. Carl Jung. Denying the shadow does not make it disappear. On the contrary, it starts operating in subtle ways, undermining your relationships, your decisions, and your self-worth. You project onto others what you cannot accept in yourself. You criticize in them what you are trying to silence within. For example, someone who represses their own arrogance may become highly intolerant of authority. Someone who stifles their sexuality may harshly judge those who express it freely. But recognizing the shadow doesn't mean giving in to it. It means you're willing to explore the full territory of your soul. And that's the first step toward becoming whole. Many avoid the shadow out of fear, afraid of what they might discover. But avoidance does not equal safety. Avoidance leads to fragmentation. It's like walking through life blindfolded to half of your being. Though cloaked in darkness, the shadow is not your adversary. It is an invitation, a quiet call to look inward with courage, but seeing it is not enough. The real challenge lies in engaging with it, working with the shadow. Identifying the shadow is just the beginning. The true journey starts when you commit to working with it. Jung referred to this as shadow work, a continuous and brave path towards self-awareness. It's about examining yourself without masks, without defenses, without distortion. So, how do we do that? Shadow work requires stillness and honesty. It calls for time and full presence. It involves pausing to reflect on your behaviors, your reactions, and your emotions through a lens of curiosity. Why did that comment trigger me so much? Why does this person bother me? What am I really trying to hide? One of the most effective tools in this process is writing. Journaling your feelings, your thoughts, and your internal responses gives the unconscious a voice. Meditation, self-dialogue, therapy, and analysis are also invaluable allies. The point isn't to judge the shadow, it's to understand it. When you write, for instance, "I feel envy," you're not glorifying that feeling, you're simply acknowledging its presence, and only what is seen can be changed. There's no coming to consciousness without pain. Carl Jung. This inner work requires bravery, because often we uncover truths about ourselves that aren't flattering. We may not be as kind, fair, or brave as we imagined. Other times, we discover neglected talents that we buried out of fear of being seen as selfish or out of place. But here's a crucial truth. You are not defined by your shadow. You are defined by how you choose to respond to it. Doing shadow work does not mean embracing your darkness blindly. It means recognizing it, accepting its existence, and transforming it into strength, clarity, and empathy. Every trait you've hidden away holds vital energy waiting to be integrated. By approaching your shadow with compassion, you begin to build something rare and powerful, a more authentic version of yourself. And as that version comes to life, you start to see that even your darkest traits can become allies, if you know how to use them. Now, it's time to learn how. Using the shadow to your advantage. Many believe the dark side of the self must be erased. But Jung introduced a groundbreaking idea. The shadow can become a source of transformation. What you conceal isn't there to destroy you. It's waiting to be wisely redirected. Take anger, for example, often seen as dangerous. Yet it can be the force that helps you protect your boundaries, push through stagnation, or alert you when something feels wrong. Envy, while uncomfortable, can reveal unacknowledged desires, highlighting the very direction you secretly want to pursue. Even laziness might be a signal of exhaustion or disconnection from what truly matters to you. I do not aspire to be a good man, I aspire to be a whole man. Carl Jung. To be whole is not to be flawless, it's to be fully aware of both your light and your shadows. And more importantly, it's knowing how to act from that awareness. When you acknowledge your anger, you gain the power to decide when and how to express it. When you face your envy, you can turn it into drive. When you notice your impatience, you might channel it into action instead of letting it hold you back. Once embraced, the shadow becomes a resource. The key lies in integration, not identification. You are not your rage, but you can harness its strength to defend what matters. You are not your jealousy, but within it may lie something crying out for healing. The shadow is like fire. Uncontrolled, it destroys. But when mastered, it provides warmth and light. This integration is not instantaneous. It requires practice, presence, and repetition. But the more honest you are in facing yourself, the more you'll discover how to turn your perceived flaws into lived wisdom. What once felt like a monster in the dark becomes a silent, powerful guide. Now that you've begun to recognize and use the shadow to your advantage, a new question arises. How do you transform all this into real, lived purpose? The answer lies in what you choose to do. Acting with purpose. What's the use of understanding your shadow, embracing deep emotions, uncovering hidden gifts, if you never act on them? Inner work only becomes meaningful when it leads to movement, to action, and intentional decisions. Purpose isn't just a noble idea, it's a commitment lived daily. Jung expressed it clearly. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Carl Jung. Many people wait until they feel completely ready. They long for the ideal moment, the perfect scenario, the spark of motivation. But the truth is, life rarely offers perfect conditions. Purpose comes alive when you choose to act, even in fear, even in doubt. To act with purpose doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means letting your actions reflect what you've discovered within. If anger showed you the need to set boundaries, start speaking up firmly but kindly. If envy revealed a forgotten passion, begin studying, creating, or stepping in that direction. If pain uncovered your sensitivity, let it fuel something that brings connection and healing to others. Don't wait to feel prepared. Wait to feel authentic. Then move. Each small act aligned with your inner truth strengthens your sense of self. Every choice rooted in sincerity deepens your path. You don't need to know exactly where it all leads, but you do need to keep moving toward what resonates with your soul. And when you begin to take action from this inner foundation, everything shifts. Life flows differently. Your decisions become lighter. The road begins to open. But there is one powerful force standing between you and conscious action: fear. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Fear as a guide. Fear. It's perhaps the most common wall standing between you and the life you long to live. Even after you've uncovered your shadow, clarified your desires, and identified what needs to be done, fear shows up. It whispers that you'll fail, that you'll be rejected, that you're not ready. And so you pause. But Carl Jung offers a different lens. Where your fear is, there is your task. Carl Jung, fear is not your enemy. It's your indicator. What frightens you most is often what matters most. Fear stands as the gatekeeper to your next level of growth. If you avoid it, you remain stagnant. If you face it, you evolve. This doesn't mean acting recklessly, it means preparing with clarity and wisdom. Ask yourself, what exactly about this scares me? And what steps can I take to reduce the risk realistically? Exaggerated fear is born from an untamed imagination. But once you organize the likely scenarios and prepare accordingly, fear starts to lose its grip. The most common mistake is mistaking preparation for procrastination. Replaying worst-case scenarios in your head, constantly doubting yourself, waiting for perfect conditions, that's not readiness. That's paralysis, disguised as caution. True courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act because your principles outweigh your doubts. It's realizing that your mission holds more value than your comfort. With every action you take despite fear, something powerful awakens within you. You stop being a prisoner of insecurity and begin to write your own narrative. Fear will always exist, but it no longer has to hold the reins. It can become your compass. And if fear guards the gateway to purpose, then pain is the mentor of the soul. Next, we'll explore why your wounds carry such deep wisdom. The value of wounds. Most people go to great lengths to avoid pain. We treat suffering like a detour, an error to escape from. But to Jung, pain is not an obstacle. It's a vital part of the individuation process, the journey toward becoming whole. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Carl Jung. Every wound carries a hidden invitation. It calls you to look inward, reevaluate your direction, question your values, and reshape your identity. Genuine growth doesn't happen without some form of fracture. Disappointments highlight what truly matters. Losses teach us how to let go. Failures reveal the areas that need to be revisited with deeper commitment. You only discover resilience by being tested. You only realize your courage when you move forward in spite of fear. You only recognize compassion after encountering suffering, your own and others. Pain doesn't come to break you. It comes to uncover parts of you that you hadn't yet seen. Sometimes, pain is the only path when all the others have become too shallow. To embrace your wounds is to honor your story, its weight, its depth, its truth. Every scar holds a thread of your personal evolution, and within those threads lives your purpose to walk through life honestly, even when it hurts. So next time life feels like it's falling apart, pause and listen. It might be that life is simply clearing space for you to rediscover yourself. And so, with light and pain interwoven, you draw closer to your essence. But that essence can only fully shine when it's lived with sincerity. It's time to bring this journey to a close. In the final chapter, we'll gather everything uncovered so far and discover why your shadow may be the very key to your deepest fulfillment. Your shadow is your path. Throughout this journey, you've been invited to face parts of yourself you may have overlooked for years. You were guided to realize that life's purpose isn't about meeting external expectations. It's about embracing your true self in all its depth and unity. Working with the shadow is neither quick nor easy. It's an ongoing process of seeing, acknowledging, welcoming, and transforming. A courageous road that requires continual confrontation. Yet it's within this very process that life gains depth and meaning. What we deny in ourselves enslaves us. What we accept sets us free. Carl Jung. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is an essential piece of your wholeness. It holds raw power awaiting guidance, dormant potential asking to be expressed, and silenced emotions yearning to be heard. That's why purpose doesn't only emerge through big dreams or external achievements. It comes alive when you live authentically, aware of who you are, in tune with your emotions, and in touch with everything you carry within. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be whole. You need to be honest with yourself. And above all, you must keep walking, even when the road is cloaked in darkness, because it is in that very darkness that light finds room to rise. So remember, your shadow is not a limitation, it's a mirror pointing you inward. And that's where your true purpose begins. Now you know the path, and it begins with you. If this journey stirred something within you, don't let the reflection end here. Share this video with someone else who is searching for meaning. Like it, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell icon to receive more content that dives deep into the human soul. And above all, keep this in mind. Your vision will only become clear when you look into your own heart. He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakens. Carl Jung, Awaken. The shadow is an invitation. Purpose is a decision. And the path begins with a step inward.